Hi, I'm Hannah Wallace and welcome to FinextraTV. Kindly joining me in the studio today is Yogesh Patel, CTO of Outseer. Yogesh, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, nice to see you again, Hannah.
So today we're discussing the evolving capabilities around AI and how that's having an impact on both the fraudsters and the fraud fighters. But before we go into that in a bit more detail, it'd be great if you could begin by defining the difference between generative and predictive AI. So let's start there.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah, for the question. As the name suggests, predictive AI is really about predicting the future, while generative AI is about creating something new. Now, let me just start to simplify that by giving you a basic example. Think of predictive AI as a seasoned, experienced car driver navigating through the road in a most efficient manner, avoiding the potential hazardous situation based on the past experience. Now, this analogy is applicable to predictive AI in terms of predicting an outcome based on the past experience. Or in other words, think of a predictive AI being shown a lot of examples of cats, and predictive AI is learning to identify cats in the new picture. This sort of AI is remarkably powerful when it comes to predicting human behavior and trends, and we've seen that great examples in the recommendation systems that are out there, but also really powerful for fraud detection and prevention mechanisms. Now, when you come to think of it as a generative AI, think of it as an artist in the AI family. But instead of predicting, it's really creating. Now, going back to the earlier cat examples, what generative AI is doing is when you're showing a lot of examples of cats to the generative AI, it's starting to learn the representation of a cat. And using this representation learning, you can tell the generative AI to create a new picture of a cat, and every single time it would create a new novel picture of cat. Now, in essence, the way to sort of think about all of these things is to say predictive AI is about predicting with precision, while generative AI is about creating something novel. I would say that both of these is significantly changing the world of AI and the future of ourselves to an extent where they're not just helping us with a more informed and improved decision making, but it's really pushing that boundaries of human creativity.
It is remarkable how far we've come within artificial intelligence and machine learning, and also we're seeing a big rise in fraud. So that's where I want to go next. What is the role of data science and AI in this, the increasing need and fight against fraud as well?
Yeah, so the fighting against fraud is always been a high stakes game of cat and a mouse. In this case, I would say that data science is really the brain of the game. It's looking at vast amount of data and is trying to create patterns within that data. Now, these patterns are of what a normal or a good behavior looks like of a normal user, as well as what a behavior of a fraudster looks like. Now, think of AI as that machine that's out there that is constantly evolving over time. It's learning and is able to predict faster than what human could predict. When you zoom into the sort of fraud detection in particular, you can see how the concept of data science, predictive AI, and generative AI are all coming in harmony to really combat those sophisticated fraud attacks that we see in the industry at the moment, such as authorized push payment. To give you an example, predictive AI, it's really understanding the data and saying, is this particular transaction deviating away from the normal behavior of a user? So say, for example, if I'm making a payment, a high value payment, to a beneficiary that I've never paid before, from a country that I've never been, from a device that I've never used before, then it's highly probable that there is a scam going on. Now it's a very simplified example, but it helps you explain the power of predictive AI, and it can able to determine this in real time and flag as a suspicious activity. On the other hand, you can see generative AI. Think of it as the fraud strategies, a creative fraud strategies that's looking at all this data and saying, I can simulate certain fraudulent activities and I can generate the data that are very related to the fraud attacks that we've seen. Now, we know that the problem we face in the fraud industry in particularly at the moment is the scarcity of labeled data when it comes to fraud. So for every million transaction, only tiny amount, only a fraction of them is really a fraudulent activity. And this is where generative AI can be really powerful in terms of combining what we've seen and simulating those fraud attacks and those threat vectors that the predictive AI has never seen before. So you'll never learn about this. Now, supplying that during the part of learning can really push the boundaries in terms of what we could do in the fraud space.
That's fascinating. So what separates the performance then of different predictive AI solutions?
So there are a lot of factors that could impact the performance of different AI solutions, but probably the most important one is the data. But it's not just data, it's the quality of data. You might have heard the term garbage in, garbage out. And this is where having a quality of data can really improve the model performance, both in terms of the speed at which it can detect bad behavior and the accuracy of it. The second factor that I would pick would be the choice of the algorithms. Now, you know that there is no such thing as one size fits all. Every problem has a different set of algorithms to address those particular problems. And, fraud industry is no different. So for example, propensity-based models and algorithms are very well suited for detecting credit card fraud, but they're not be very good for if you supply or if you ask them to detect identity fraud.
Right.
So having the right choice of algorithm is the key. I would say another important factor is the way we carve out data, or in data science term is called feature engineering. We have a vast amount of data and different dimensions of our data that are at our disposal at the moment. Making sense of that data in a way that can address a specific problem and really carving out that set of what we call features that's going to be really useful for models to very quickly learn and adapt. And finally, I would say that it's the model's ability to stay up to date, to stay current. Once you put the model into production and you watch the behavior of that model, you often see that either the degradation in the model performance is a direct result of either there is a data drift or the model is just not being kept up to date. So to have real relevance of what a good model looks like, you need to make sure that the model is constantly adapting, evolving, and self-learning. And I think these are the sort of key factors that drives a superior performance of an AI solution.
And speaking off the back of that then, what about looking beyond risk scoring? How can AI be used in other areas? Could you give us some examples?
Yeah, so again, it's an interesting question, Hannah, right? Because, traditionally, one of the successful use case of an AI is all in the banking sector in particular, has always been in the risk scoring domain. But we've come far from that point now. You've seen some of the advancements in the AI space, and I do think that over the next few years, we're going to see a banking sector being completely revolutionized with the use of AI. If I had to pick a few examples, I would say that, think about improving customer service using an intelligent chatbot that is very quickly resolving customer queries and is available 24/7. Think about those, AI has been used to really derive that personalized banking experience for individuals. Now, when you combine these two things together, what you see is it has a power to significantly improve the net promoter score for any bank if applied in the right way. But also, it's not limited to just customer and the net promoter scores. There are lots of use cases internally at the back office that it could be very relevant for. Now, within fraud domain, we have a big problem when it comes to case marking. A lot of cases gets generated that never gets addressed. Now, having an automated way that is AI powered to mark those cases can not only help with the operational efficiency on the operation centers, but also help that models and learning of that model. And finally, it's not just limited to, again, customer service or back office operations. It could really apply to security and fraud domain to really create that defense in that strategy that we've not seen before. So, in summary, I would say that the way we think about AI, or the way we have been thinking about AI, is going to look completely different in the next couple of years. We're going to see AI touch every single point in the transactional journey, whether to improve customer service, whether to create a very personal banking experience, or just to create those security and fraud defenses that are really impenetrable.
Well, I can't wait to catch up with you further down the line and discuss those significant developments. Yogesh, thank you so much for sharing your insights. It's such an interesting space, as I say, and thank you very much.
It's great to have you.